Welcome back to Mama's Talk Relationships. I'm Lisa Miller.
And I'm Alessandra Martinet.
Are you ready to dive into another episode about love, loss, and everything in between and after divorce?
I am so ready.
What are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to talk about a phone call that I got from a friend of mine this morning. And I thought a lot of our listeners are experiencing this. But before we dive into all that, we have some things that we want to share with you. Lisa, go first.
If you guys would like to dive deeper into any of the topics that you have heard us chat about, if you want to dive deeper into your healing, I would love to chat with you. Please reach out. You can find me at my Instagram at lisamiller.coach. I offer one-on-one private sessions as well as a group container. And love, love, love this work and think it's so amazing, especially for all you who are out there in this space right now. What do you got going on?
Well, one thing is, I want all of our listeners to give us a review on wherever they listen to our podcast. And
Yes,
I
please.
am Oh, yes. And I am partnering with Flashback and their solo trip operator to go on my first solo trip, which I am so beyond excited about. And it's going to be to Belize in March of 2025. And you could find that information in my link in bio at Mama's Guide to Divorce. Okay. So let's talk
Well, hold
about.
on one second. Hold on one second. So what she's saying is she's taking a solo trip and you guys are all invited. And if you are interested, go to her link in bio because it's going to be freaking fantastic. Go ahead.
Yes, it will. Okay, so let's talk about this phone call I got. I got a call from my friend early this morning, and she was like in a real major funk, right? And she has been on the dating scene after divorce, and she's been dating casually, like a couple of guys. And one guy that she's been seeing flaked on her, and she took it super personal, and she took it as a reflection of herself. And I feel like this is such a topic that a lot of us feel and we go through, and we just wanted to talk to you guys about it and let you know you're not alone. Lisa, like, what's
Well,
your
let's
thought on
get a
that?
little bit I want to get a little bit more the juicy details here so our listeners can really understand what's going on. So they are when you say they are dating and she's dating other people, so they're casually dating.
They're casually dating, they go on dates here and there, and she's not really into him. So when he flaked on her and she called me all upset, I'm like, why do you even care? You don't even really like him.
And what did she say when you asked her that?
She said, because I'm bored and just want someone to hang out with, and I took it the wrong way. And I'm like, so you're letting someone drain your energy and take up time in your brain, and you're not even into them. Why? What's the point of all this?
Correct. And here's the thing that I think is really important to point out. So I think casually dating is there's a time and a place and a purpose for it. Absolutely. I know I've done it. I know you've done it. And it's great until it's not, until we start to get our feelings involved, until we start to want more, and the other person is showing up consistently the same as they are. So people show us who they are all the time.
Hmm.
We just choose not to see that. That's when, what's your post about the red signs or just kink or whatever they what is it?
Yeah. Uh, they're heart shaped. The red flags, they're heart shaped or something like that, or they're not that red.
Right.
But I think for her, she's like new to the dating scene, so she doesn't really know what it's like. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And she just wants to be busy. And I'm like, you're better off being busy doing things that make you feel good about yourself. Why are you settling? Why are you chasing something that is not fulfilling? Why do women do
And
that? And she couldn't really give an answer, like
well,
something really
she's doing
definitive.
it because she's trying to go outside of herself for validation, and also she's bored and lonely
Mhm.
and wants connection, right? Our nervous systems are wired for connection. So in her mind, she was probably, "Oh, he's gonna come around and he'll see who I am." And even if she wasn't really into him, when you start dating someone and you start spending time with them, it becomes easy. And then you kind of want more, and then you kind of want more. And we get kind of stuck in this hole of I'm okay with it when we're really not okay with it. And at some point, and I don't know your friend, so I don't know her personally, but at some point, she may have decided, I don't want to do this casual thing anymore. Like it was working, and now maybe it's not. And she has to
Mhm.
maybe take a step back and be like, do I still want something casual or am I looking for something more? And is this the person I want something more with? And if it's
You
not,
know
she
what
has
I
to
think
walk
it is
away.
too? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, if it's
I
not, she
think
has to walk
it's
away because she's blocking herself from getting really truly fulfilled by the person out there that can fulfill her.
yeah, and I told her rejection is redirection, right? This is a sign
Absolutely.
for you that it's time to walk away and let go and prioritize yourself. But I also think that when we're in that phase of our life, we tend to not want to do the work and put ourselves out there because it's just easy. Like you just said that. Who wants to like go out on dates and try to meet new people constantly? That's what I really think it is.
I would argue this isn't actually rejection. These are just two people who aren't aligned. And that's where she's taking it personal. She's feeling rejected because he's not meeting her where she needs to be met, but she's not
Mhm.
realizing where she is and what she is actually wanting. So she's being like, "Oh my gosh, he doesn't want me." But what it sounds like to me is that he doesn't want a relationship, period. He's probably been very upfront about that and probably been
Mhm.
wishy-washy throughout their whole time together. And again, people show you who they are from the get-go. He's probably been one foot in, one foot out, and she's been okay with that up until this point. So now her feelings are hurt.
Mhm.
That's not
Yeah, and
rejection.
I
That's
told
just realizing who the other
yeah,
person is.
and he has been consistently inconsistent with her.
Yeah. And she's been okay with it up
And
until this
she's
point.
yeah, and she said something and it made me really sad. She said, "I feel like there's something wrong with you." And that broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with
Well,
her.
she said,
And,
"I feel
and
like there's something wrong with me." Sorry.
sure, sure, yeah. There's nothing wrong with her, and he's not a bad guy. They're just in 2 different places, and that's okay. And it worked until it didn't, and that's what dating is. And I think that's where people get caught up in feeling so, um, hurt by someone not wanting you is because we take it so personal. But if you can take a step back and be like, "Oh, like, this is just, like, 2 people that aren't in alignment and like they can still be a good person. That doesn't mean they're an asshole. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. And of course, it feels bad when you're not in the same place because you've invested time, energy, and all the things. But it's better to know now than just keep chasing someone and accepting the breadcrumbs. Then now you're breaking your own heart and self abandoning, which is way worse.
Yeah, and she feels so shitty about herself, and I'm trying to make her see things differently. And I want all of our listeners to know if you're going through something like that, take a step back and really think about it, the situation as a whole, right? It's not you. And that's what we keep saying. You can't
Yeah.
take it personal.
I mean, in my own personal experience, I've done this. So I know firsthand
We all
that
have.
yeah, that I was, like, super into someone, and all he wanted was something casual, and I was fine with that at first, and then I started having feelings for him,
Mhm.
and he was still in the same place of not wanting something serious, so he was, like, one foot in, one foot out, and it felt really crappy, and it just made me want him more because I was trying to get him to see how amazing I was, and he couldn't see it because he didn't want to, he wasn't there, and that doesn't make him a bad person, and it doesn't make me a bad person. It just or not good enough. It just means we weren't in the same
Mhm.
place. And what I would say to your friend is, in a year or two from now, he may show up totally differently because he'll be in a different place, but you probably won't be available then. And do you really want to wait around for potential?
Who wants to wait around for potential? That's a problem that we all tend to do is we romanticize what could be and not what's right in front of you.
because they may never show up as that fantasy in your mind. And I would also argue if you start off on shaky ground, it is really hard to get to a solid foundation. If you're starting off super casual
100%.
and there's other people who you're dating and they're dating, it's hard to feel really safe with that person even years later. Like our bodies, an amazing book. I talk about it all the time. It's called The Body Keeps Score. Our bodies have trauma.
Mhm.
And like, even though that doesn't sound like trauma, like it's a little T trauma of like, am I safe with this person? Even though you so badly want to be.
I think it goes you can go even deeper into this and talk about maybe her childhood and that this kind of cat and mouse thing feels familiar, and maybe that's why
Everything,
she's gravitating to it.
yeah, everything is, I shouldn't say everything, most things are traced back to our childhood and wounds that we're trying to heal. Again, the body keeps score. So that's why, doing like really deep, deep inner work to go to the root and heal what is at the root so you can actually become aware of it, heal it, and let it go is so transformative.
Mhm.
But now we're going into a whole new tangent.
I know, we always do that, but I just thought it was an interesting conversation, and I thought we should just hop on and talk about it. But
I
we
love it.
did have some questions from our
Ooh, bring it.
listeners. Okay. One question was, does it ever get easier and when?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
I think that it gets easier 100% and life can be so beautiful, but we always, always say you have to do the work.
Yeah, it's not, time doesn't heal all wounds. It's what you do with that time. It's being intentional with that time. But it does get easier. It's different. It's not the life that you probably fantasized about as a little girl or a little boy. It's different, but it's so good when you get there and you accept where you are and who you are and you love who you are. Life gets really, really good. It's so juicy.
And when you're so confident within yourself, it's so beautiful. But here's another question. My ex wants to take my kids on a trip out of town, and I'm not comfortable with it. How do I address the issue?
I would
I
start
think
with
she has to think about why is she not comfortable? Is
I
it
would
a
also
valid
I just gonna say I would also just get curious on what their relationship is, and then to piggyback off what you're saying is, why are you not comfortable? What are you worried about? What's the length of time? How old the kids are? There's a lot of questions within that question, but is it just an insecurity that they're gonna? Is it like FOMO? Are
Mhm.
you afraid like you're gonna be missing out? What's best for your kids? And then can you have a
Yeah, and I
conversation with
think
your ex?
that's exactly what I was gonna say. If you have a somewhat good relationship with your ex, just have an open and honest conversation. That would be my
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, and you guys, please, please send us questions that you would like us to answer on here. We love that. You can find me at Instagram at lisamiller.coach, and you can find Alessandra at Mama's Guide to Divorce. Send us, DM us. We would love more questions. Do we have any more today?
We love questions. All right, mamas, we're nearing the end of another episode of Mamas Talk Relationships. As always, we want to thank you for joining us on this journey. We'll be back next week with another insightful, informative, and hopefully entertaining episode on navigating dating and relationships after divorce.